Good morning and welcome to the Lavina road trip vlog. I am currently headed up to Lavina, north of the island of Bali, on this trusty steed, the Scoopy. I have to say, I think the Scoopy might be my favourite moped to rent. They just feel like good bikes, but hopefully I haven't just jinxed myself for that. I've just spent the night in Ubud. I'm now currently heading up 2 hours up the island of Bali through the mountains up to Lavina. I've got a special stop en route, which you'll see shortly because it looks sick. And I've got a sick couple of days planned in Lavina. I've also got some kind of deep bits I want to talk about in this vlog. Without further ado, let's get into it. Also, before I get back on the road, I just want to give you a quick update on what I've been up to for the last few days. The last vlog you saw was in Nusa Penida, which was on Tuesday. It's now Sunday. Wednesday to Saturday was spent in Canggu. I didn't film a vlog, but there are daily vlogs on my YouTube shorts if you want to go check that out. Canggu is the tourist party, like nightlife part of Bali. 3 times I've been in Bali, 5 times in Canggu. I've never actually embraced the party lifestyle, so I did this week. It wasn't very budget friendly, but I did save up specifically because I knew I wanted to enjoy it. And you know what, it was quite good fun. If you want to see a video on that, let me know, drop it in the comments. Yesterday I headed from Canggu to Ubud because I knew I wanted to be heading up north. But my next stop is going to be Gili T. And I knew it'd be easier for me to rent a bike from Ubud, drive up, drive back, get over to Gili T than it would be from Canggu. So let's go. No cars for 10 minutes I've been here, and now there's loads of bikes. It's been a week and there's still sand coming out of my poor drone. We are at the first stop on the Lavina road trip. It's about halfway up the island, about halfway to Lavina, and I'm gonna say this wrong, but it's Jat Il Hui rice terraces. And as you can see, the rice terraces over there, and they just keep going. I believe this is some of the biggest rice terraces in Bali in terms of just the sheer amount of landscape that is covered by rice terraces in one area. I could be mistaken, so don't quote me on that. So I rented this moped. This is the Scoopy moped, one of my favorite types of moped to rent. I rented this for 90,000 a day. That's definitely overpriced. That's the cheapest I could find in that area of Ubud. I don't know if prices have just gone up because it's tourist season or what's going on, but that's a little bit more than what I was hoping to pay. I was hoping to pay about 70,000 a day. So this is my trusted steed for the next 4 days. I'm going to be heading up to Lavina. I'll be spending 2 full days there. I'll have today this afternoon, and then on Wednesday I'm leaving early morning to get back to Ubud, drop this off, get myself over to the next stop. So far, £21 to rent that bike for 4 days and £1.50 for a full tank. I mentioned at the start of this video that I wanted to talk about some sort of deep conversations during this video, and I'm going to elaborate on this as the video goes on. But what I want to talk about basically is traveller's anxiety. This is not something I ever talk about. It's not particularly comfortable for me to talk about it, but I think it's important to talk about. And that being said is that I have a lot of anxiety about going up to Lavina today. Now I know why I've got the anxiety, and it's definitely a valid reason to be anxious about going up to Lavina. Basically, in 2018, I travelled with an ex-girlfriend for 6 months. During that 6 months, we spent 5 weeks in Bali, and in that 5 weeks, we went up to Lavina. In total, I've spent about 7 or 8 months of my life backpacking, and that trip to Lavina was the one and only time I've been genuinely fearful. We basically got put into a situation by some not-so-friendly locals where they effectively tried to blackmail us into buying an overpriced tour. Now I'll explain the full situation further in the video, but basically the situation that occurred was the first time I've been genuinely fearful while travelling. It's the only time I've been genuinely fearful while travelling, and that situation occurred in Lavina. And that situation is actually the reason why I haven't done the main tourist aspects of Lavina that I want to do on this trip. Now because of that anxiety, the last night I was really stressing and anxious about the trip to Lavina because of what happened last time. And even though I'm not going to be put into a similar situation, still anxious. Let's move on to the next place and I'll continue explaining. I'll tell you what though, the sun out is alright, but in this kind of mountains, it's not the warmest. So what I didn't know is just around the corner from where I stopped, there's now a ticketing booth and you have to pay 40,000 to go in to the rice terraces. It's about £2. I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna pay it and just go see what it's about. I might even stop and get some lunch here, so I'll let you know if it's worth it. Okay, so by the looks of it, you can basically just go on this long hike, walk thing through the rice terraces. I have to say, I do think this is probably worth the £2 entry, because this is actually gorgeous. Especially if it was a sunnier day, this would look incredible. We haven't had the most luck with the weather today, but it's still absolutely gorgeous. And like the sun's peeking out over there, it looks lovely over there. As you can tell, doing tourist things on a travel day isn't the most glamorous thing in the world. Considering this is 14, that's 14 and 12 kilos I think it is. So I'm not going on the hike because I'll die. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see. I'm basically going to keep driving through the rice terraces and just make the most of the fact that I've paid the entry to it. It seems pretty cool. I am officially so high up. I'm in the mountains. We're in the clouds. It is so cold. I think I might get my trackies out of my bag because it's freaking cold. I've still like an hour left of driving. Okay, I've arrived. I'm at my hostel in Lavina. This is Summer Guest House Hostel, or Summer Guest House and Dormitory, I think it's called. As always, what I'm saying is linked in the description below if you want to check that out. From the reception, I've actually managed to book my dolphin tour. I'm going to be doing that tomorrow morning, doing the swimming with dolphins, which is the main reason why I'm here, and I'm actually very excited to do that. I think that'll be really good. The other reason I'm here is to head back up the mountain. I'm going to do that the day after, or maybe tomorrow, we'll see, and do all the waterfalls, the water temple, and everything like that. So as I said earlier, last time I was in Lavina, I didn't have the best experience, and so I didn't actually end up doing the dolphin tour that I wanted to do. In 2018, I was travelling with my now ex-girlfriend, and we were staying in Ubud before heading up to Lavina. We booked a very cheap transport from Ubud to Lavina, which in retrospect should have just paid what every other operator was offering. We found an operator who was charging less than the others, so we just booked that. We got the taxi up to Lavina, and he took us to a random place about 20 minutes outside of town. I know this because I was looking at maps the whole way to make sure we're actually going in the right direction, because I was, you know, a little bit paranoid. He drove like an absolute nutter, and I just wanted to make sure. We arrived there, he got out of the car, walked off, did not say a word, and we were like, what's going on? Some guys then came out and invited us into like this little shelter thing where he said that he'll take us to a hotel in a minute. He just wanted to explain the tours we can do. He then proceeded to try and sell us the dolphin tour. He was really friendly and we were genuinely interested, but I just explained to him that we've just got here, we want to head back to our hotel, we want to freshen up, and then we want to talk about it before we make any rash decisions. He didn't like this, and he got more and more pushy and almost aggressive for us to book a tour. To which I then asked him to take us back to our hotel, and he refused to take us back unless we booked the tour with them. At this point, a few other people were in the room and were around us, and it almost felt like we were being held there. Fight or flight kicked in, and I was like, no, we're getting out of here, we're done. Screw you guys. So we stood up, got our bags on, and we just walked off. We ended up having to do the 20-minute walk in 30-degree heat down the road from Lavina all the way to our hotel. Luckily, nothing bad actually happened, but that was the most fearful I've ever been in a situation. Looking back on it, I'm very glad in myself that I kept my cool and I kept I suppose a brave face is the best way to put it, because inside it was genuinely terrifying, not knowing what's going on, knowing these guys could quite literally do anything to us. Other than the fact I had maps on, we had no idea where we were. No one knew where we were. It was just, it wasn't a nice situation to be in. We ended up doing a tour of the mountains and everything like that the next day, and then we left Lavina earlier than we intended to because it just tainted Lavina for us. So that's why I'm back. I'm back to do the dolphins like I wanted to do, and I'm back to do some of the stuff we didn't do up in the mountains, a couple of the waterfalls and the water temple. This time around I drove myself, I didn't get any transportation. I'm in a nice guest house, and so far it's a much better experience. But because of what happened last time, the whole of last night I had a lot of anxiety about coming up to Lavina. And traveller's anxiety, whether it's caused by something that's already happened in the past or just genuine anxiety at the fact you're going somewhere you don't know, is completely natural. I wanted to explain this and talk about it because I want you guys to know that this is something that happens. You do get anxious, but it is completely natural. Over the last 4 years, I've spent 7 or 8 months traveling, backpacking the world, and I still get anxious. It's something that happens, and it is completely normal. I don't want anyone to feel like it's just them because they feel anxious about a traveling trip or somewhere they're going. So, it's completely natural to feel anxious when you're traveling. It's completely normal to be scared, to be apprehensive, to be anything like that. It does happen, and it still happens to people that do travel. I still get it if I'm going to a new destination. Obviously, I've got it here. I've been here before, but obviously the experience happened before. I still get it. For me, overcoming it is about getting it done. I've always had that attitude. I used to BMX when I was a kid. If I fell off doing a trick, I had to get up and try that trick again immediately to make sure I wasn't then paralyzed by the fear. The same sort of thing here. Last night I was really considering not actually coming to Lavina because of it, and that's when I decided, no, that is a sign to me. I need to come to Lavina now to get over this. I'm not letting this paralyze me. Fear doesn't make choices. If you have got any anxiety about an upcoming trip or travel, or to be honest, this works with really anything. Whenever I feel anxious about stuff, I find it really, really helpful to physically, pen and paper, write down everything that's going on in my brain. Basically dump everything that I'm thinking about, and that, generally speaking, helps calm my anxiety. I don't claim to be someone who has been incredibly anxious their whole life. I know people that have suffered with anxiety a lot more than I have, and I'm very blessed in the fact that I haven't. And being anxious is an absolutely normal thing when going into situations like this. So I got over my anxiety. Here I am in Lavina. Now it's time to enjoy Lavina. Start recording, I'm just gonna go. Come on, fucking go.